Get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It, Restoration.
Welcome to another episode of the Surface Guys podcast. I am Ruel, and on the other mic, we have our service specialist, Lonnie. Hey, Lonnie, what's going on?
How are you, Ruel? It's been a minute.
It's only been like 24 months worth of minutes. It's been
Something
too
like
long.
That. Yeah.
And
how you holding up over there? You texted me this morning that your neighbor has water damage. Did you go tell him that you knew somebody in Missouri that could fix that?
no, I didn't. But I was really fascinated. He caught me. I had arrived home. I was on my driveway, and he says, "Excuse me." I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" And he says, "I had water leaking from the ceiling. Did you?" And I had some sort of alarm system kick off, and they had been gone for 3 weeks. So he was trying to figure out how long the leak had been occurring. And so I guess, his home system, it probably got somebody to check out, to see what's going on and check out stuff. But according to him, they couldn't find out what the cause was, but definitely there was water coming down the ceiling on the first level. And the water was above the ceiling and making its way through things like the smoke alarm area and the light fixture areas, wherever there's holes, right?
Right.
And along one side of the wall, it's all puffy, and the paint is wrinkly and sagging on a strip of that going on. Definitely bubbling.
You go and hope that go and hope one of those bubbles, water will pour out of it.
And
you probably have somebody in there by now.
No, not yet. But exactly. I'm like, at this point, do you really want to know how long it's been happening? I mean, does that really matter at this point?
Well, not really. Whether it happened 3 weeks ago or 3 hours ago, the sooner somebody gets on it, the sooner the water loss is mitigated and, can get started drying out.
Right.
And if it's very long, I mean, he'll see a big old water bill next month. You're 6,000 gallons over your normal usage in October.
Crazy.
But, if it took out his alarm system, that would be probably the first clue. Like whenever that happened, that would probably explain how long it's been busted, whatever pipe is busted in there. But this is a prime example of why you shut the water off to your house when you're leaving town, especially for 3 weeks.
Is there a way to shut off the water but still allow the sprinkler systems to do their thing? Are they? But they're connected, aren't they?
They're connected. Don't know that answer. Sometimes they're kind of on a separate system. Depends on how it's installed. If it's installed before the water main into the house, then you should be able to still run it. If it's tied in on the other side, the home side of the shut off, then no, then that's going to shut off. But still, which is better, nice green grass or a green moldy ceiling?
Exactly.
Or which is better to prevent? I'd rather not water my yard than run the risk of water in my house while I'm gone. Bad enough if that happens after you leave at 8 o'clock and you come home at 6 o'clock to a wet house. That's bad enough.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, I'm like, is there a bathroom above this floor? Have you checked, the plumbing there? He doesn't see anything. I'm like, maybe something broke within the walls. I don't know.
And didn't you have a weather event though here recently?
We had, but he
Right.
said he was gone for 3 weeks, and I can't tell. I don't recall it occurring in that time frame. I did say, you have birds nesting up by the end of that gutter on that side of the house. You might want to check your gutters to see if they're draining, because if we did have a weather event and that thing's full of water, that water's going to go somewhere. It's going to try to go up
Yeah, every
to your
time.
roof, and because that's what happened to us one time.
When you're hiring someone to clean your carpets, you're probably assuming that they're using better equipment and better cleaning solutions than you would. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. Their equipment should heat the water to 200 degrees to ensure that your carpets are not only clean, but disinfected. Next time you hire someone to clean your carpet or tile, ask them how hot their water gets. If they don't know or it's less than 200 degrees, send them back and call me, Lonnie Beecham, with Restore It Restoration. I'll get your carpets done right and your life back to normal.
So how was your weekend driving the big bus?
Oh God,
For anybody?
it was amazing. I mean, it was a bit intimidating. I'm not used to driving anything that big, but I get it. I got a handle on it. I'm not. I mean, I'm aware that I need wide turns. I'm aware that I need distance when it's time to brake. I'm aware of all of that. It was a really cool vehicle. I've never driven one of those big old RVs before. It's got cameras in the rear and in the sides, so that if I need to back up or if I need to switch lanes, I'm getting the right camera angle, camera view. It's pretty cool.
Oh, that is sweet. Yeah, I
Yeah,
was telling a friend of mine the other day, anytime you got a box truck, an RV, a tractor trailer, if you can't see their mirrors, they can't see you. So, but you got a camera, so you can see them now. Ha. When I'm in my box
yeah,
truck, I can't see you. If I can't see you in my mirrors, I can't. You just don't exist to me.
right. I mean, if you can buy them separately and install them. I know that.
Yeah,
Like
that's either said than done.
like what is it? It's kind of like a license plate frame with a camera, and then you just got to run the wiring. Get a little monitor
Right.
up by the driver's area. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not worried so much about backing up as changing lanes. When you got those people that like to just hang out in the driving hammer lane, and when
Right.
they sit there just side to side with you, and unless I can personally see you or catch you in my mirrors, you just don't exist. So I always put my signal on for a little bit before I go changing lanes, give people a chance to hopefully catch a light, telling them I'm coming over. Yeah, I
Yeah, it
think
was fun.
was I doing COVID cleaning stuff for Starbucks last time we talked or not?
I know you had done that you might have. How many have you done? Was it just a one?
I don't know. No. I mean, I've done a bunch of COVID, but that was like 2 years ago. And then now I'm cleaning up vomit and fecal matter off of toilet seats on a very, very regular basis, especially at one store in Columbia.
Oh, geez.
It's not uncommon to go there twice a week at 5 a.m. just wipe blood up off of a toilet or fecal matter that won't flush down. I get to do that even though, like, pick your toilet brush, but whatever. pays good, so I do that a lot.
Looks like money to me.
Yep. Still making a living off of Starbucks.
That's awesome.
A third party. It's not Starbucks directly, but I don't even know the name of the company, but they pay me. I always ask how much, and it's always more than what I would have charged them. So I said, yeah, I can do it for that.
Nice.
Yeah, earlier when you texted me about doing it today at 3:00, I was like, I don't, I was supposed to be, I was doing an asbestos test or having an asbestos test done. I let the guy into the home, and then after I got all the way to the far side of the town, I had another job. I needed to go nail some baseboards back into a house on the same side of town. Then I got to driving, and I was a little distracted. I was on the phone with a friend earlier and totally forgot to grab my nail gun. So that's when I texted you. Like, when I said maybe, it's like, well, it kind of depends on how fast I can pop these nails, or take my nail gun and pop the baseboards in. The baseboards are cut. It's just a matter of just popping them in. No big deal. And then, but I got all the way over there. I was like, damn, I forgot nail gun. So I had to, punt it to tomorrow. It so happens I got to go try to find a dead animal in an office building just right around that corner. So I'll get paid to drive to that side of town anyway to try to find a dead mouse. So that'll be going down in the morning.
It's nice that, animals are still finding their way.
Still dying in places?
Still dying in places that no one else wants to deal with but you.
Well, it's pretty easy money. It's inside work. Get paid as soon as I'm done. And easy peasy.
Nice. It was a business as usual.
Throw it in a bag and, oh, yeah. Yeah, don't make promises over the phone. And,
yeah, I was
every day
there that
about the same.
That other day when I went out for that run, because I've been trying to get back into on my feet and doing stuff, and I went on a run, and man, something in there was so bad, and I looked just like to my left. I was standing right next to a dead young deer that had been there for a while, and it looked like it'd been ran over a few dozen times. And it's been cleaned out. All of like the birds and all of those guys, the scavengers have done their job and pulled out all of their guts and stuff. So it was just like skin, fur, and a skull.
Yep, pretty nasty. Yeah, I don't know if I told you. I don't know when I got this call, but a Mexican restaurant here in town had a dead deer. They told me laying in their parking lot. Did I tell you this story?
No. How'd that go?
So, it went very, very limited. Very limited English was comprehended on their side, and zero Spanish was comprehended on my side. And when I got there, the deer was it was a big old deer. It was a buck. He was laying in the ravine on the other side of the 2-lane highway. And so I told him, I said, well, I would pick this up for you, but you have to pay for it. And the girl that I was talking to translated, and they said, well, no. I mean, they told me, well, that's the state. I'm like, yeah, but I don't work for the state. They're like, well, you bill the state. I'm like, no, that's not how this works. You got to call the state, and they got to pick it up, or they need a contract with me. I don't just send people arbitrary bills that they don't know what it's for. And yeah, that was challenging. So needless to say, I didn't have to pick up a full-size buck and throw it in the back of the truck and figure out what to do with it later.
And if you did, yeah. Oh, really? Whew. It'll need its own seatbelt. So big.
Yeah, then I can get in the HOV lane. Like I got to worry about that in mid-Missouri. We don't have HOV lanes in Jeff City. We don't even have them in Kansas City. I don't even think St. Louis has any, to be honest with you.
It's cold as shoulder.
I don't think so. I'm trying to think. I don't think we have any in Missouri, period. Oh, well, I don't have to worry about them. So how's the chocolate business?
Oh, it was doing really, really well at the beginning of COVID. Everyone wanted, because we were selling cookie decorating kits. Everybody wanted to do remote sort of activities with friends and teammates and coworkers, sort of like an organized, everybody get on Zoom and open your kits and let's go do this together. Which was a surprise because there was a lot of, as we all know, there was a lot of stuff shut down, a lot of restrictions. So it was tough for a lot of, traditional business. So for to be able to provide cookies to folks was like, wow, we're kind of benefiting from all of this weird time. Then it kind of settled off. Especially this past summer, we had a really huge break, but it's starting to pick up again.
Is it? Yeah, getting into the holidays.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've yet to see sort of the company orders would come in. We used to do company orders for 40, 50, 60, just tons of individual kits and packages that we'd have to ship out. It was it was pretty hectic, but I don't know. Maybe next week after saying it, maybe next week something will come in, and I'm like, okay, great. I shouldn't have said anything. I mean, I like the business, but I don't like how busy it gets.
Sure, every waking moment squeezed in a pastry bag, ice in a cake.
Oh man, I mean, I love the decorating part. My wife would have these ideas of cookies, or she'll see something that somebody else had done on Etsy or I don't know, whatever, online cookie decorating or some social media thing. I'm like, yeah, we could do that. So to be able to see other work and then replicate it or make our own version, that's something that I really enjoy doing.
Ripping off other people's intellectual property, huh?
Yeah, that's what it's all about. With it being October, we've done stuff that is like Hocus Pocus, the movie Hocus Pocus themed.
Yeah.
And then it's this
other one coming out.
Yeah, there's another one that's out. So there's been some buzz around that again, and we've so we're having to do some of those same designs over again. It's pretty cool. There's some pretty cool stuff too, like Harry Potter or Super Mario Brothers, Toy Story. Challenging, but once we do them once, then to get repeat orders on the same design, it's so much easier because I would have built out better. Yeah, exactly. I would have built out templating and stuff to make it all easy.
Sweet.
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, you probably can't imagine a world not being so shut down and locked down during COVID like you in San Fran, the whole state of California, the whole state of Washington, and then the state of New York were about the only three that truly shut down and still pockets of it still to this day, where everybody else was like, yeah, wear your mask if you want, don't wear your mask if you don't, no big deal. There was barely skipped a beat during COVID.
Oh, there was a time where the community around here was definitely, it was an understood protocol. Just throw on that mask, and then, when we would drive off, because it didn't matter if it was COVID or not, we'd drive off a few towns over or a few hours away, and it'll be a totally different vibe. I'm like, whoa, we're like the only ones wearing masks. And it didn't really matter to me But I remember for sure, like when I got COVID, and I'm like, okay, now I don't have to worry about that too much. So by that time there was less and less mask wearing going on. And to this day, that's the norm now. And it's the exception are the folks with masks. And I like it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, around here we nobody got chastised for wearing a mask. But they around here you would get kind of strange looks if you're wearing the mask. I mean, at first everybody kind of wore a mask a little bit, but then after a couple of weeks everybody's like, what happened to 2 weeks of flatten the curve? And then, all the flip-flop messages, one day make your own, another day don't bother, another day wear 2 or 3. And, it's like everybody so obviously they don't know what they're talking about. So now, now there's always that one or two in the group, and you're just like, and you got the memo, even the CDC saying that, you don't even have to wear a mask anymore, but there's a few still, not too many.
Yeah, when I got COVID, the family was out. We went to Seattle. We flew to Seattle and picked up a rental car. No, I didn't. Sorry, Megan. I think it wasn't even on my mind, on my radar. Who would have been in the vicinity. But we got to Seattle. We stayed, I think, a couple nights, but we picked up a rental car over there. And then we drove to Canada. And in Canada, we went to Vancouver, and we did a whole tour thing where we hopped on a bus with a bunch of folks, and we made our way around and got on a ferry to Victoria. And, so it's pretty confined in the bus. But at some point in the trip, while I'm still in Canada, I get COVID, and the other 2 kids get COVID. My wife and my oldest already had it. They had it back in April. So here we are. We're like, okay,
at the same time.
Yeah. So the rest, the remaining 3 in the family, myself included, now here we are. We're home testing positive with COVID, and we're all feeling kind of like sore throat issues, but it wasn't debilitating. We still went out and about, and at that point, wearing masks was more like, I guess we'll try to minimize people getting exposed by us. That's what the perception with mask wearing has been now. It's like, oh, you're still wearing a mask. That means you have it, and you're trying to keep it away from everybody else. That's probably what it's all about.
Yeah. I don't know we don't wear them much around here.
It was a huge weight off of our shoulders.
I got COVID 3-4 weeks ago. My wife had it. She came down with it on a Friday, and I went home from work on Wednesday after, and she slept for about 2 days. I slept for about a day and a half, and I was just real lethargic, real tired.
Right.
For about a week, maybe 2, getting better and better every day. Now it's like, whatever.
Right.
But it must have been a month ago, because it's, I've been 100% normal for a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks now. I don't know.
Yeah, you texted me the
question right now on the, the military housing advocate people.
Yeah.
Yep. I still do a lot of that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, somebody's asking about a house fire.
Like, how are they? Have you ever started doing, or?
No, it's kind of funny. The other day, there's a group of us that all get we kind of hang out at the post office a little bit, just kind of hang out and just, just 4 or 5 guys that are just kind of friends. And it turns out I've done work for, well, it must be 5 because I've done work for 3 of the people. Anyway, we get there and I just check a PO box. They have they're the mail people for big state offices and stuff, so they get the big old totes, and the window for those guys open up anywhere from 7:20 to 7:45. So I just stand there and just kind of hang out, talk to the guys that I've gotten to know over the years. But anyway, the reason why I started telling you about this is one of the guys is a retired fireman, and we were talking about fires, and I asked him, I said, hey, do you know how to start a fire? Burn your own place down if you don't want to, if you so that you can't prove it's arson. First words out of his mouth were potato chips. I was like, yep.
Really?
Yep.
Wait, you set him on fire, and that he burns the.
Yeah. If you want to set your house on fire, I probably shouldn't just put this out there, but we only have 1 or 2 listeners, so and I've probably told them. So, if you want to set your house on fire without being able to be proven that it's arson, you just catch potato chips on fire. So accidentally drop some potato chips on your stove, and the place will just go up and like a Roman candle, and you can't prove it. There's no accelerant. You don't need lighter fluid or gas or nothing. The grease on the potatoes just goes up like crazy.
So then the only thought would be, well, it stemmed from the kitchen. That's all we know.
Right. They'll just write it up as cooking related or just accident. Yeah, if you can sleep with yourself at night, you just say, I didn't know that the stove was on, and I threw potato chips on the counter, and I didn't know the stove was on, and oops, insurance pays for stupidity. I mean, I've always said about 80-90% of the work that I do is 100% avoidable. Just some due diligence, common sense, sometimes just slowing down a little bit, you could save a guy like me from having to show up to your house but people doing their own repairs. Hey, if this valve to the sink is tight enough, I'll just tighten it up even more. Well, that fails every time. Something will crack, and then it's always a matter of hours later. Then it's shut down. In fact, speaking of water damage, I almost fired a guy today. I just woke up just mad because he calls me out last Tuesday night, and anyway, the guy has Progressive insurance. So, the lady Flo from Progressive's okay as long as you got the right stuff. But if you're Googling, cheap insurance at 2 a.m. and you got a $400 a year, an $800 a year, or $1,200 option, and you don't know nothing about nothing, the $400 looks better than the $1,200. Well, I couldn't get any answers from this guy's insurance company all last week. Started just rattling cages and trying to find an answer. Either, you can have my time and equipment. Let me have my equipment back. I didn't know where I was going, but I'm tired of it. Had asbestos questions, have coverage questions, have, all kinds of questions on this claim just to get started. And the adjuster has asked me, well, how come you haven't done the demo and dried out this place yet? And I'm like, well, because I keep asking you, does he have asbestos coverage? And I keep telling you, I can't rip nothing open until we know. Meanwhile, the customer's telling me he's broke. He has no money for nothing. It's like, I don't know how to help this guy. If he has no money and I go cutting his carpet out, and he has the wrong kind of coverage, then he's going to be mad at me that I just, ripped out $2,000 worth of carpeting.
That he's going to pay you for.
Right. well, the insurance company would pay me to pull it out. They're not going to pay him to put it back in if he has the wrong kind of insurance. And how am I supposed to know what he ordered up? But his was a plumbing leak. The guy's lived there over a year, the most amount of dog hair I've ever seen for a single dog. When I pulled the fridge out, well, first he didn't know where the water was coming from, so I told him, well, go downstairs and turn the water main back on, and he starts freaking out. Well, that's just going to have water spraying everywhere. I'm like, dude, I even said, dude, I'm here. You already have water everywhere in your whole house. What's a little bit more? But we can find where it's at, and we can cap it or shut off the valve. And so, So I asked him to pull out his fridge, and he said, well, how do I do that? I thought you just pull it. It's on wheels. He had no idea. And then I see the inline water filter was spewing through the side. It had cracked, and I asked him, when was the last time you changed that out? And he goes, I didn't even know it was back there. I didn't know you could pull a fridge out without needing two guys. I'm like, no, they're designed to pull out on wheels to sweep and mop under. And, and then it turns out that filter was so old, like I've never seen it. And when I Googled it, it looks like, well, you can only buy parts on eBay. So that's just one guy that has a box sitting on a shelf somewhere. And the company's defunct. Don't even know when it went defunct. The insurance company is spending all this time trying to send this part off to an attorney. I'm just like, you are stupid. I mean, just a quick Google search shows that it's out of business. There's no money to be gotten. So that's called subrogation. So if you ever have a part break, malfunction, whatever, water hose, like a washer hose or supply line to your toilet or something, the insurance company is always going to want that, usually, if they think they can get a buck out of the company. Well, there's no company. The guy who's lived there over a year didn't even know the fridge was on wheels. He didn't put it in there, and the company is defunct, so good luck. Nice spending all your money on attorneys for nothing.
Wow.
I was just rambling there.
That's okay. I was just going through my tools while you were rambling. I'm looking for. I had a guy come in, work on a sink, replace a faucet, and he left a wrench behind. So I was looking for his wrench. This was a while back, but I knew I had the wrench because I think I needed it I'm trying to tighten up the crank on my bike because my wife and I have been doing these morning rides about an hour almost every morning. And that's the most use I've made of my bike. And what's happened over time is my crank is where the bearings and whatnot all sort of are housed. It's starting to loosen. So my whole situation there's all rattly. And I was going through my tools. I have tools now.
Giggling at crank and bearings.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just giggling like a little kid.
I have tools now. I acquired tools over the summer because I needed to do a repair on the vehicle. I changed a water pump, a timing belt, power steering pump, did all this work in the garage. Yeah, I feel so manly.
Manly? Did you grunt a little?
Yeah, lay under the vehicle while it was on jack stands and a hydraulic floor jack. I laid under it, just feeling manly.
Yeah, and then you're supposed to have your wife come out in a skirt and stand over you, and then have a porn until you start.
That's how. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, look at you go. Yeah, I remember. Now that you say that, I remember you messing with a timing belt, and I know nothing about a timing belt.
Oh, it was treacherous. One thing after another, but finally got over all of it. I stripped bolts because I didn't know how to use a torque. I didn't know how to use a torque wrench.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I stripped bolts. I stripped bolts for the water pump, and fortunately, those I was able to extract it easily with some vice grip, but then I stripped a bolt hole for I want to say an idler bearing, which is in the on the side of the engine, right? So I was like, okay, so how the hell do I recover from this? So I had to learn and develop the guts to actually experiment. And I ended up doing a thread repair using a helicoil, so a coil insert. But it meant I'd had to clean out the hole and make it bigger to fit the insert, which would match the bolt. So that's that.
Yeah, how'd you do that? Tap and die kit or?
Yeah, exactly. My wife, cousin's husband, he handed me a couple of his kits. And the deal was I only had a few inches of space under, in the car, under the hood. So I couldn't run a drill. And if I were to drill, I wanted to make sure I was dead on. Right.
Straight.
So I'm like,
not angled.
So I'm like, damn. So I'm like, okay, let me get a right angle drill attachment. I'm like, I looked around, I found one. It's still slightly too tight for me to do anything meaningful. So that's how I develop tools. I'll get stuff and then I end up, I'm like, oh, okay, not today. I'll use that for something else, I'm sure, but I ended up not drilling. I just ended up doing a tap and kept on working that tap, pulling out fragments of stuff and just pray to God that I was going straight.
If not, that's a $6,000 repair.
No,
a motor.
Yeah, oh my God. And then I did the first coil. I'm like so proud of myself, but apparently it was still too snug in there. I couldn't even get the bolt threaded through it. So I've had to figure out now how the hell do I get this thing out? I have a coil and I threw in a couple of drops of Loctite just so that, because I wanted to be secure. So I'm like taking a torch and I'm just heating it up and I'm trying to bang it a bit with a screwdriver to try and break that coil. And, after a lot of attempts over a period of time, I think I went to Canada, then came back and actually figured out how to get it out. And it was by accident. I just ran a different tap through and got it to bite. And then when I went the reverse direction on the tap, it pulled the coil out nice.
Perfect.
Then I ran a second coil, and it was just a little bit better, but I still couldn't get the bolt through. So I'm like, son of a. But I'm like, well, I've been here before. I know how to remove it. So then I tried to remove it, and I couldn't remove it. But what I did do was I loosened the thread just enough so that I could actually use that second coil and thread it. So that's what's sitting in the thing now, and I got past that, got it to work perfectly, and I was able to torque it properly. And
Nice.
It was.
I don't even own a torque wrench, but I don't work on engines.
Right.
I hate it. I hate it.
This is all YouTube University and trial and error.
Sure. Yeah. Speaking of YouTube, what is it? I can't remember what the. My neighbor was having about a month ago. He was having just a hard time getting his headlight changed out on his pickup. So I go over there and see if he needs a hand, and he can't figure it out. And I said, well, have you watched YouTube? And he just looked at me and goes, no, I didn't even think about that. So I pulled it up, and it was easy. Once you saw the video, I mean, it was easy and done in 30 seconds. He'd been tinkering with it for 10, 15 minutes, and he goes, man, I didn't even think of that. So then a couple Sundays ago, he comes over. I don't remember what he's wanting to go do. He's wanting to go do something. And I said, okay. And then his dad just surprised him to, try to fix his lower garage door code thing, whatever. And so that should have been an easy fix. But his dad was still there like an hour later. His dad was still there. So I go over there and see if they need a hand. And they're trying to read this direction booklet thing that wasn't making sense. So then I said, well, have you tried YouTube? And Corey said, don't even tell me that, because I didn't even think of that. Sure enough, pull it up, a 1.5-minute video, and showed you step by step how to do it, and up, down, up, whatever. And he said, man, you fix everything with YouTube. I said, I do anymore.
Yeah.
I own five cars now, and every day not every day, but often I'm, changing out headlights or something, and they're all different. Well, the other day, my daughter's battery was dead, but I couldn't find the battery. Had no clue where it was. Sure enough, YouTube showed me, and it's hidden under a few things. You got to, slide, take out 2 10-millimeter nuts, slide something over, that flops out. Then it's an easy thing, but I couldn't find it. Had no idea. YouTube told me. Yeah, headlights and batteries seem to be a challenge these days. And wiper blades. Yeah. Have you replaced a wiper blade in the last 10 years? You got to be an engineer or something. What was
Not
wrong
the blade.
With the old clip-in thing that we used to have? And we used to be able to replace wipers for $5. I understand inflation, but man, you're looking between $30 to $40 a blade. I'm like, wow, that's you got $85 in a set of wiper blades.
Yeah. It has to have been over 10 years where I actually tried to insert the blades on the actual arm. But since then, I've just bought, well, not the arm, but the whole sort of kind of like that bow situation. Yeah. I just bought new ones of those.
Thing,
Yeah.
Well, anymore, I take it to O'Reilly. They'll install them for free, and I let them. I mean, wiper blades are challenging sometimes. You got all these little clippy insert things, and you got to save some of them. You got to save a piece off the old wipers. Some of them, they come with the new ones. I was like, you do it for free. There you go. And I just let them do it, and I watch them struggle. And I'm like, man, you'd think they've seen 1,000 Ford Escapes by now, but they always have to read the directions, figure it out as well.
Wow. No, I got them now because they've got the J hooks. You just get the whole piece of the wiper with that just needs to be inserted in a J hook, and you're good. But sometimes getting the old ones out, that's a pain in the butt. Like, do I push this tab down or do I pull it?
Right. And then that snap, is that a good snap or a bad snap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, you asked me the other day if I have any stories. And what did I tell you? I always have stories. Always a story going on. I live in a nightmare.
You need to start jotting notes down of stories that you want to talk about.
Yeah, I'll tell you a thing I've had happen twice in the last 3-4 months, maybe 6 months. I've lost a mold bid to somebody that was more than half my bid. And the first time that happened, it was a customer I got a great lead on. Like I've done her sister's house, and she was telling me they were they were like a third of my price. And so I told her, like, let me see it, if it's apples to apples. I said, I'm curious where these, what the differences would be. But long story short, the basement's 48 foot by 36 foot. So, it's a big rectangle. Well, this company had her measured out at 12 foot by 16 foot. And I said, right there's your difference. I have actual true measurements. They just made up a rectangle. And she went with them anyway.
Oh.
Anyway, that was irritating. I thought I can't compete against somebody that doesn't know how to read a tape measure. But and then just recently, a month ago, I lost out to the same company. I told these people I'd have them done in 2 weeks. No, this is 6 weeks ago. I happened to drive by today. Same company that I lost out on 6 months ago. I lost out to this same company. They are still dealing with this lady's house. They're still scaffolding in the living room. And then, and I don't know what the price was for this one, but I got it through a garment restoration cleaning friend. And I brought her in. Her numbers were big. My numbers were big. And then lo and behold, the same company brought her in, not knowing that she'd already been there. And they wanted to know what they were going, what she would charge to clean this lady's stuff. And she didn't realize the address pulls up, same house. And then they had told her, like, whoa, we majorly underbid this house. She says, well, I could tell you my numbers because I've already been here. I can tell you exactly to a penny what I would charge to clean this. And she just took out the moving and packing part and gave them a big old bill. And they're like, oh, that's more than what we bid for. So wow. I'm hearing that, they're realizing after the fact that they're grossly underbidding these jobs. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny when you hear stuff like that. Like, you get what you pay for, lady. She's been out of her house for 6 weeks now. She would have been out of her house for 2 weeks. Well, so now I guaranteed her she would be out the house no more than 2, and if everything went well, for 1 week. And here she is 5-6 weeks later, still out of her house. So what did she say? Because I don't know what she's doing for food and where she's living. And for 2 weeks, she told me she could live with her brother or something, but it wasn't ideal for her family of 4 or 5 and a dog or 2, and then his family of 3 or 4 and a few dogs. She said, we could tough it out for 1 to 2 weeks, but after that, I wouldn't know, where we would go. So I don't know if she's in a Airbnb. I don't know where she's at. So it just cracks me up that she thinks she's going to try to save some money, and she still has scaffolding in her living room as of today.
Oh, wow.
Got an 18-foot tall ceiling in her living room. So it's a big living room, but still, she'll be able to do that job in 1 to 2 weeks. No problem.
So with this one company having overbid you both times, was that a signal like I'm going to start kind of adjusting my prices for these sort of situations?
No, because I'll just tell you, the first bid was 48,000, 46,000, something like that. And she went with the company that was charging 20,000. I can't do that kind of difference, especially whenever I saw that, they were grossly mismeasuring. And they also were charging for cleaning ceiling versus cleaning floor joists. So, I mean, those are night and day different charges and different efficiencies. But if I was 46 and they were 44, I could look at something. I could figure something out. But if I'm 46, 48 and thousand and on this first job, and they were 20,000, they're doing what we call spray and pray. They just spray the crap out of the place. They don't do any of the proper, HEPA vacuuming and stuff like that. They tear out the nasty of worst of the worst, and then they just fog the crap out of it, and that's all they do. And that's not proper procedure, but yeah. But yeah, this last one, it was another $49,000 mold bid, and I don't know what their price was. And I know the content cleaning on it was $46,000. So it was about a $90,000 claim. This is the same lady that I had the exact same conversation with her 14 months ago, and the mold was only confined to her basement, and it was $20,000, $22,000, 14, 15 months prior, and then she has us back in when everybody's sick, and now we've got mold on the basement, and she has a 2-story house with a basement, so 3 levels of black mold throughout her whole house with 18-foot ceilings and stuff like that. I mean, it's a decent, big-sized house, and when you work by the square foot, I mean, square footage adds up. So, I was 46,000 plus. The contents was 46,000. So, $90,000. And if the same company came in with a similar, $20,000 for mold cleaning, and I don't know what they would have charged for contents. If they were $40,000 on a $90,000 claim, how do you cut your prices to combat that? And why should I? I mean, they're not doing it right, so why should I do it incorrectly whenever I'm dealing with those something that's potentially life and death, or people get sick from mold. So why would I want to cut corners?
Right.
But not 20-some thousand. That's too much of a spread.
Yeah. No. Thanks for sharing that. That's the nitty-gritty of the business.
Yeah, there's always a newer company coming in thinking they're going to get all the business by cutting prices, and they'll learn one way or the other. Well, I won't.
Cool, man.
Got sued. Yeah.
So you have any for this episode? Do you have any tips? Or is it too soon to ask Lonnie for a tip?
If you're going out of town, make sure you shut your water off.
Boom! There you go.
Ask your neighbor. Ask your neighbor what it's like. So I would say this is a wrap. I got to get going.
Okay. All right.
From DC today, and got to get the girlfriend tied up, put under the stairs.
All right. Remember how to wrap up?
Just kidding.
Do you remember how to wrap up these episodes?
No, we never really got that solidified.
It was something
very well.
It was along the lines of he's Ruel and I'm Lonnie, and blah blah blah, and get your life back to normal, something along those lines. Ring a bell?
Sounds like you did it. Sounds like you wrapped it up.
Right. Let's look forward to another one. Take care, Lonnie.
All right. That's a wrap, folks. Have a good day. I don't know where my phone's at. There it is.
How do I stop this recording? All right, Lonnie. You got to do what you got to do. Take care.
All right. See you. Bye.
Go get your life back to normal. Lonnie with Restore It Restoration.
Real?
Beep, beep.
Hey, you are there.
Yeah, I'm in the garage. I'm just trying to pull a crank off of the bike.
Been so long, I didn't know if you knew how to do this anymore.
I totally forgot.
Yeah. So what's the game plan here? Do we have a game plan?
We don't have a game plan. We're going to catch up, right? We're going to catch up and then go from there.
All right.
Yeah. So let's kick it off.
We've already caught up.
Yeah, but we haven't caught up doing it as a podcast.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so
not much to catch up with, though.
Yeah.
Are we
want to kick it off
now?
We're recording now, so whenever you're ready, you can kick it off.
Okay. How about you kick it off? I don't remember. It's been a year plus.
It's been I felt like two plus.
Yeah, it might be 2 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you kick it off. You always kicked it off. I know that because I don't like kicking.
Okay. Yeah, you wrap up. Okay.
All right.
This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production.